Hey, it's Camila Stevenson. We got a lot to talk about today. We're talking about wealth as always, and that can look different each time I get on here. I want to address something about XRP that I got on the last live, as a matter of fact. And I really want to go back and address this because I think it is a point of misunderstanding, right? And so let me make sure that this is okay. There's a point of misunderstanding at, again, the price of XRP, specifically as it relates to ETFs. So I want to share some information to get you more grounded on what ETFs are for XRP and what they do. There's a lot I'm going to talk about. First of all, if you're coming in, go ahead and like the video. I want to address this real quick too, just because I want to see your thoughts on it. There's so much happening. Oh my goodness. How many people think that Jerome Powell did a good job on inflation? Put 1 in the chat if you think he did a good job, and put 2 in the chat if you do not think he did a good job on inflation. I see that there is a court case. Apparently he is reconstructing or spending a lot of money on a building, but I think that there is some political tension between where his affections lie as it pertains to whether he agrees or disagree with the political parties. And yeah, what's up, Stanley? So 2, I see a lot of 2s, meaning that you do not think he did a good job with inflation. I'll tell you what I think. All right, what's up? What's up, Dorothy? What's going on? Like the video as you come in. We got a little bit we're going to talk about, and I'm going to help you to understand a little bit about where XRP is right now. The sentiment is absolutely off the chain. There's not as much engagement because people are really devastated at what happened in 2025 with cryptocurrency. And there is still some uncertainty in the market. All right. I think it's a tightrope he's been trying to balance. I could say that that is actually fair. I can say that that is fair. I mean, one do think, okay, some people do think he did XRP is cheaper than a burger. XRP is a key in the Microsoft Office, not sexy yet, but indispensable for offices adoption. Okay, good. I see a few comments on that. And LaShonda is saying you think he did great on inflation. Okay. All right. Top of the evening, millionaires. I love it. Yes, we are. Listen, somebody said buy Bitcoin. You know what? Let me just say this real quick. Clarity Act, but there is still some uncertainty around Clarity Act. Like if we don't get it in the second quarter, there could be a wait for a few extra years. And so I'm gonna give my thoughts on that too with the Clarity Act. And there's a lot of people. First of all, nothing I say is financial advice. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Do not take what I say or my opinions about anything and think that it's a green light for you to buy whatever I'm buying. I'll share what I'm buying, but you make your own decisions and speak to a financial advisor if you have one that is educated and knows how to make you some good money. Hopefully they're making some good money themselves, right? And so again, there's a lot going on. And I got a lot of people who were extremely distressed about having to sell some of their XRP. What's up, Stanley? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'll continue to do so. Also, let me say this real quick note, quick heads up before we dive in. After this live, whatever you all do, stop watching. After this live, I'm going to do a members only session on something that a lot of people have been asking about. And I'm going to walk through how people are creating yield on the Flare network. I said I would talk about it with wrapping and minting and put it in plain language so you can understand how I'm personally testing it with small amounts. I'm also going to touch very briefly on ZBEC. I've heard a lot of questions about ZBEC network and XPR Proton. So I'm going to talk about that. But if you want to understand the practical side of execution yield mechanics, and clarity surrounding XRP, I'm going to be talking about that. So you have to join for that. It's only $3.99 a month, less than that if you're an Android user. Thank you so much. And so what's up, y'all? What's up? It's a good day. All right, so I'm going to jump on with my members after this. Somebody says ZBCN, get some. Yeah, so listen, okay. There's a lot of people. I read some comments and I was like, man, I felt so really bad because yes, Trigger, you made it. Because there were some people who were saying that they are running out of money and they have to sell their XRP. and they were pretty devastated about it. And I was saying, hey, is there anything you can do? Can you ask a family member for help? Can you get an extra job? Can you maybe borrow against it, depending on how much they have? I'm going to tell you why my wife asked how much XRP we have, and I said, that is so funny. Right. You better get your own. Um, Personally, I'm going to tell you why I would try. Me personally, I would not be selling XRP, especially at this price. I would sell other cryptocurrency before XRP, and I'm going to explain why that is. And I'm not giving you financial advice, really. Everybody has a different plan, and I can't say somebody else's plan is bad. My plan is for me, and your plan is for you. All right. So watch most people about crypto. You're cool. Thank you so much, from South Africa all the way. And if the Clarity Act doesn't pass, I'll be surprised. Yeah. I'll be surprised too. But guess what? There is an advantage for some people who, if the Clarity Act don't. First of all, let me answer this question because it was on my last live, and I didn't really get a chance to go into it because it was kind of at the end. My daughter had a cheerleading competition, and we had to get on the road, and so I was kind of rushing out. But I see this question time and time again, and I want to address it so you can understand, especially if you hold XRP. People are confused about the whole ETFs and what it means, and hey, why isn't the price? And I'm going to give you some numbers so you can understand what's happening with the ETFs and how it plays a role in the price of XRP, or how it doesn't play a role in the price of XRP. What's up from North Carolina, right? It would be selling like a child. It's a no, absolutely. So why isn't the price moving? It is a very logical question, but there's a misunderstanding. So XRP ETFs do not make the price go up. Let me just say that again. It does not make the price go up. They do not create utility. They don't force adoption. Those are things, that helps with the price. They do not turn XRP into something that it wasn't already. What they do provide, the ETFs are providing, did our team win? No, they did not win. They did not win, but they did really, really good. And I appreciate you asking. They did really good, but they did not place, right? So it was some bad mama jamas there. But she had fun, y'all. Okay. I mean, think about it. As a 12-year-old running around the hotel room with your friends, they didn't have to perform until 3 p.m. that next day. So they got to stay up late, sleep in late, and I told her, hey, I'm going, they were jumping room to room and, all that good stuff. And I remember those days, knocking on doors, running down the hallway. I'm not that parent that's going to get upset at stuff like that. These are kids. Like, I did the same thing. We running and laughing, jumping, hatting from the people. They calling the people on us, whatever. I'm pretty cool with that. I like kids to be kids and have a little bit of fun. If they get out of hand, yeah. But my baby is a real sweetheart. Okay. So anyway, with the ETFs, what they provide is exposure, right? Let them play, Alice. They provide exposure to the price, okay? And one of the things, the biggest thing about the ETFs, why I was excited about the ETFs, it's not just because of an ETF for XRP. I did buy a little bit, but I don't have a lot of ETFs because I own the actual utility coin, right? What they do affect is supply over time. Okay, that's it. An ETF lets institutions hold XRP on balance sheet without touching self-custody or interacting on chain. So it's really easy for those who don't want to get all into, the cold wallet and moving and all of that. And that matters for compliance, but it does not automatically matter for price. Okay. So when an ETF holds and this ETF holds the spot XRP. So when an ETF holds the actual underlying asset, the supply is effectively removed from the liquid market. And that's how it plays a role in all of this. What's up from California? So that's why ETFs are a supply and availability story. Okay. So it aids with this narrative of the supply shock if it's needed, which brings us to the numbers. And I want you to understand that, right? Let's see. Solana and ETH are like investing in petrol before the car wash was invented. XRP is like investing in the gas stations before the automated. Good analogy. You know what I mean? Like, I get what you're trying to say. The actual, gas station. I get what you're trying to say. So, and all of us are I try to give analogies too, to try to help everybody understand where we are in this. Again, if you are long, then this should not be a problem. Jake's predictions are worthless to me. Your convictions, I don't look at people's predictions. Your convictions should come from your understanding, your ability to be educated about the asset that you're investing in. Okay. And what are the possibilities of that asset? And what is the adoption plan for that asset? Like, we're all, when you think about it, we're all just trying to figure out what's going to be adopted. And everybody going to have a different, or their ideas of what they feel like is going to get institutional adoption. All right. And the more you're educated about it, the more your conviction is there. I do not think that anybody should make huge moves based on one man's prediction. And I think I can't necessarily blame him for that. Do you know how many predictions was made in 2025? Let's keep it real. There was a lot of predictions made in 2025. There was a lot of predictions made in 2024. There was a lot of predictions made in 2023. Some people get it right, some people get it wrong. You are responsible for your own expectations, and you have to manage your own emotional capabilities, and you have to design a plan that works for you, and you have to hedge yourself against risk. If you over leverage, if you bought too much of a position, if you was banking on one man being right, that's just a learning lesson. Okay. And I think he's not giving predictions right now. He's like, it's a learning lesson for me. Don't give predictions, give events or whatever that looks like. So yeah, been in it for years. Yeah, and I love that. That's what we have to go off of. And so would I have liked him to be right? Absolutely. Who wouldn't? But I was not expecting that. Like, I was like, if he proved me wrong, cool. But I don't believe that it will do that this year. That was just me, and I wasn't planning on it. I've been holding XRP for a very long time. So y'all just be very careful about all the predictions and stuff. And it's very difficult to even give predictions based on the chart, because you have all these macro events that could take place that could move the price in different ways, right? So let's face it, as long as newbies are treating XRP like a stock, we can keep buying cheap, then oops, insane price. Oh yeah. Yeah, and people are still treating it like a stock. People are upset that it's not moving when Ripple makes a move. That will make it a security, right? It's not a security, right? So it's not going to move when Ripple moves, okay? And it shouldn't, right? So now look at the numbers, because I got to pay attention to this. You know what I mean? I started location call out. I'm loving it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for saying this. Thank you. Now I didn't hear that. I didn't hear him say 10K for this year. But that's I wouldn't I don't believe XRP. That's me. I don't believe XRP is going to no darn $10,000 this year. I have talked about how I can go to high prices. I've done videos on that. Now let me just say this, because this is the truth, right? And so last week when I was looking at the numbers, we saw roughly 219 million flow into XRP ETFs. That's trading value, okay? While at the same time, there was 750 million that flowed out of Bitcoin and ETH. That's actual money leaving Bitcoin and ETH, by the way. That was actual money. Somebody said he didn't say that. Okay. I don't know what he said, but I haven't heard him say that. All right. So we have the volume of 219, that's a high volume. That's a very high volume for XRP ETFs. So where did that money go, y'all? Where did that money go? And Gold says he did. Now I don't know if he did or didn't. I'm just giving both of you all a voice to say what you got to say, right? So where did that money go? That trading activity, first of all, for XRP is very high relative to the size. And so what it shows is strong institutional participation and rotation interest. So y'all, that money didn't disappear. It rotated, right? That's institutions adjusting exposure. So this means something. You got to pay attention to stuff like that. Remember, price doesn't, again, move from Ripple's announcement. It cannot. If price moved because of corporate activity, XRP would start looking like a security, and it is not a security. And I'm going to tell you why that matters for all of us. XRP is an asset that gets priced when it is needed, not when it is marketed. Hear me out. Price moves from necessity, not narrative. It will not move from narrative. Okay. So I just want you to know that, right? And then, okay, I see y'all saying that he didn't say, I don't know what he said. I just didn't hear that, right? So XRP is a commodity, right? So I just want you all to understand it's going to move for different reasons. All right. And that's why you're not going to see a bunch of fireworks with the price just because an ETF exists. But it is also why if something forces here, and this is where we're going to transition, because if something forces fast settlement, fast liquidity, rapid movement of value. Price doesn't get to stay where it is either. Okay. Right. He said 50K at the end of Trump's term. I think he said 5 digits at the end of Trump's term. But I wanted to put this up. Why is XRP sold in exchanges? I mean, most of the crypto are going to be sold on the exchanges, but the exchanges are going to be the last place where they pull from it. And so if you got it on exchanges, watch out, because if there's a supply shock, there's going to be problems with that. Now, XRP, the necessity of it, again, if there is an event, and this is why I'm going to tell you that, first of all, the risk to me is to not have XRP while the Clarity Act has not been established. Okay. And I'm going to explain why that is. Okay. Remember, if there's an event, fast settlement, fast liquidity, rapid movements of value, then that is where you're going to have a price reset. Okay. That's if the system needs the asset to function. That is the difference between speculation pricing and utilization pricing. There's a difference. Okay. Now, let me say this about the Clarity Act, because XRP will never be worth $100. There are too many tokens. Well, I just disagree with that, but I understand what other reason is your logic for saying that is too many tokens? They print dollars left and right. If you ask me, when you have a finite amount of an asset, I think the chances of it going higher is greater than an infinite amount of value, like the dollars that you can just keep reprinting over and over again, because it's finite. So the scarcity can increase, especially if there's a demand for it. So the question is, if there's a demand for it, if there's a high demand for it, and if we get it to be at full capability of utilization, and you're trying to move hundreds of billions of dollars, and there needs to be a way to do that, how do we do that with a finite amount of coins at $2? How do we do that? I just want to know what's the game plan for that, because that, in my estimation of mathematical reasoning, doesn't make any sense to me. But I could be wrong. All right. Nothing I say is financial advice. I'm just thinking through this the way I think, the way my brain operates. Now, with the Clarity Act, I think the timing gets misunderstood. There is some uncertainty about the Clarity Act. We're going to see. I am hopeful that we're going to get it. But and I think the timing of it gets misunderstood. Okay. Institutions, they want rules. They need the Clarity Act. They want clarity. They want certainty before they start deploying at scale. That is going to be a huge thing for them. I am excited that you got your first cold wallet. I love that. All right. And I hope you got it off the actual website, not off of a third party website like Amazon or anything like that. You know what I mean? So XRP function. Yeah, it's all about the function and the necessity of it. And here, let me break it down for you for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Because now with the Clarity Act, institutions, they're going to wait for legislation, for that. But let me tell you something. Here's the difference. Trezor. Okay, you got it on Trezor. Okay, I love it. Yeah, that's good. And so institutions don't wait for legislation in an emergency. Okay. And I love that you got your Tangent wallet. I love Tangent. Okay. Institutions are not, when you're thinking about an emergency, things don't operate the same. If stress is to show up, whether it's funding pressure, FX volatility, or a liquidity event, y'all, the question is going to change concerning an asset that is needed. Okay. It's not going to be about what's the perfect regulatory framework. Do we have the clearance of it? It's not going to be that. It's going to be like, this is what institutions are going to think if we ever get an emergency before the Clarity Act, right? They are going to think, what can we legally use right now to move value without breaking anything? That is where XRP is advanced. It is separated from the rest of them. Most digital assets are waiting for future clarity. XRP has already been cleared of a major legal hurdle. They've been cleared. It is not a security. That means something very important for risk management. If clarity comes first, listen to this, because I'm about to say something important. If clarity comes first, institutions move later. If stress comes first, institutions will use what is already usable. Okay. This is how you have to look at that. And that's why, to me, from a hedging standpoint, and I like hedging against risk, XRP makes sense before the Clarity Act, not after, if we're talking about getting to higher prices. Because in a scenario where fast settlement is required, XRP is one of the very few assets that do not need permission to be deployed. Do y'all understand that? So it is a hedge to me. Now, that's not a long-term prediction at all. That is a timing asymmetry. That's what that is. And timing asymmetry is how institutions think, right? My thoughts is that he did not handle inflation as good as I would have wanted him to. All right. I think he could have handled it a little bit better. But I believe what the other comment was at the very beginning, like he's got like a thin line to, and Jerome Powell, believe it or not, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? It seemed like, like Trump would say like he doesn't like us or whatever. But I mean, he's always been a Republican technically, to the point where he funded Republicans, and he had to stop because when you are in his position, you cannot have a bias. You cannot have a political bias. You have to look at the math, the numbers, the economy, and stuff like that. But y'all know how Trump is by now. you know, y'all know how Trump is, right? I don't take none of that stuff personal. People be just tripping out like on some of this stuff. Like, I'm not looking at, listen, I'm not looking at the political aspects. I'm looking at me and my household. You know what I'm saying? Like some people like all up in the White House. I'm concerned about my house. Okay. Not the White House, my house. And if whatever the White House is doing that's going to benefit my house, I'm for it. I don't care who's in office. I honestly don't care. Like if you're going to get no tax on crypto, why would I be mad at that? I don't care who you are. You could be Bugs Bunny. I don't care. Like if we're getting no tax on crypto, that benefits me. That's going to save me a lot of money. Okay. So I want that. I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican. I don't care. First of all, I'm independent. So, and I'm a real independent. Like I'm not like an independent who vote Democrat and an independent who vote Republican. I am a true independent since I've been in high school. Well, no, not high school, college. I went to high school. I got out of high school at 16. So since college, right? And I've not been committed to one party. I'm not committed to one party. I'm just not. So I am a real independent, and I do really look at, policy, and, I evaluate every situation very differently depending on the White House. And I've been like that since I was a teenager, since I was 18 years old, and I don't think I'm gonna change at this point, right? There's a lot of things I disagree with on both ends, but I can celebrate a win and I can disdain a loss. Like, I don't agree with that. Oh yeah, I agree with that. I can find things on both ends that I agree with and disagree with. So I'm really, I could care less. I'm not a crazy liberal. I can just tell you that right now. I'm not a crazy liberal. I have daughters. I don't want men in my girl's bathroom. I'm sorry. It's just what it is. Okay. So there are certain things on the liberal side that I totally disagree with. You're never going to find me say, yeah, it's okay for a man to go into a girl's bathroom and be in there with my 12-year-old baby. That's personal. And guess what? Sometimes politics can be personal for you. I don't want my daughter going up against men in sports and stuff like that. I think it's crazy. I don't even think it's common sense if you ask me. It doesn't make any sense at all to me. And don't judge me for it. That's just my opinion. I respect and I'm free to everybody's opinion, but I don't like it. I don't understand how a man can I'm sorry, let me just detour real quick. Can you imagine if LeBron James decided, well, I'm a woman, so I'm gonna go on a women's basketball team and play against the women? Do y'all really think that's fair? I'm like, this is not even, I mean, come on, let's have some common sense. Okay, if Shaquille O'Neal was playing basketball and he decided he wanted to put on a wig and get on a woman's court, what kind of sense do that make? I'm sorry. Like, so certain stuff like that, I'm totally in disagreement with. All right. And so, and I know LeBron is not a trans. I know that. I'm not saying he is. That was just an example. I'm giving an example. Like that would be unfair if he decided to put on a wig and say he's a woman and they said, we got to accept you in here and you're going to be dunked. I mean, whatever team he on, they're going to be winning like every single game. That's unfair when you have somebody who's worked that hard. So anyway, but I can go down a rampage on Republicans as well, because I don't like the way they're moving about certain things either. You know what I'm saying? And especially on a fiscal level, on a money level, like the way I can say a whole lot about just the way they do things, um, and kind of the way they're taking money. You know what I'm saying, from middle class and stuff. Now, I do believe everybody has responsibility, and that's why you're here getting educated. Get your own plan devised. Okay, that's why you're here learning. You understanding that we have to be, we have to get our emotions together. We have to make holy, wholesome decisions with our finances. All right. Right. Set apart from all of this other stuff, because I'm telling you now, the gap will widen. But you can either continue to consume and just blow your money away to inflation, or you can continue to buy assets that's going to skyrocket in the future. Right. And no government is perfect. Right. And so I like that comment. Where is it? Yeah. No government is perfect. Matter of fact, y'all better stop relying on the government, okay? Because all they about is their own pockets. And you know what? They all lie. I can't stand when Democrats come and tell me that Republicans lie, and Republicans come tell me that Democrats. I'm like, they all lie. What is wrong with you people? They all lie. Like, it's just that simple. Anyway, let's make sure we understand XRP's price movement and what the opportunity is. I believe right now, before the Clarity Act, like, so the people in the comments who were like, oh, I got to sell XRP because, you know what I mean? I'm like, you got some big, for me, I would sell Bitcoin. I would sell Solana. I would sell anything else. I would sell your meme coins. You know what I'm saying? I would sell anything to me before XRP, before the Clarity Act, personally, because you need a hedge. What if an emergency happens? Okay. Because think about this, you guys. The price hasn't moved, of course, because necessity hasn't shown up yet. ETFs, again, they affect supply very slowly. Okay. Utility demand has not arrived. Stress hasn't forced the system's hands at this point. So price doesn't move because people are impatient about it. Like, oh, I want it to move. It doesn't. It moves when the system needs the asset. Okay. So following these things that will make XRP a necessity is very important. And again, it does, if there's stress to the market, it will shine. Remember, if the clarity comes first, institutions will move later. But if stress comes first, institutions will use what is usable. It's just that simple. Emergency thing will change everything. Okay. And that's why if you are only watching the candles, that's fine. You can know like short-term price movements, breakouts and stuff, but the macro events are going to matter. But looking at the chart is going to feel frustrated if you don't really understand what actually causes a repricing to XRP. Okay. So I just want to get that out there and help you to understand. Again, the ETFs play a role in the supply and demand. They will, once the dark pools and the, and the over the counter, once those are taken away, they are coming for the exchanges. And if there's not enough left on the exchanges, which it won't be, because they only coming for the exchanges if there's an emergency, whether it's manufactured or whatever. Okay. The solution is there. The problem has to be made. And if oil spikes, if Japan raises their interest rates, which they're still planning on doing, there's just a lot that could happen that could make this, I don't know if it will, but I'm just saying before the Clarity Act. Okay. And what do I think about Flare? That's a great question. I don't think Flare will be available to everybody forever. Okay. And Kelsey, we're going to meet up. Actually, we're going to transition in a minute, because after this live, I am doing a members only breakdown on Flare and on-chain yield. I'm going to explain exactly what I did the best I can. Plus, I'm going to give a little bit of clarity on ZBEC and XPR, not XRP, but XPR, because those questions have come up. And I want to say this too. I do want to draw a line between understanding and execution, right? Because some of this stuff, you need the execution. That's great. That you just got a little bit of XRP. When you say, what is this? What do you mean? What is this? I love to know that question. Let's see, you know your stuff. Okay. What do you think about Canton Network? I don't think it's going to compete against XRP at all. And I think a lot of people think it's going to compete. And I don't think it is. I think, if anything, maybe it'll complement XRP. Somebody said, get this bag. I love it. Okay. HBAR and XRP. I love HBAR. And I've talked about some of my heaviest assets that I want to be completely educated on the macro environment. Now, you can understand this and you can execute this. They are different. Understanding this logic is one thing. Actually being able to act when conditions start to change, it's going to be another whole beast. Again, the link for the description for Stock Up University is in the description, helping you with cycles, structure, risk, positioning, trying to think clearly through all of this and just understanding how to become a brilliant investor. The link is in the description for that. You can still use the code EARN. The discount is still there. I don't know if it's changed, but there is still a discount because he's still offering some level of discount. So make sure if you want to get educated, man, I would really suggest that you go through that course. You will really think very differently. And then also the link is in the description for the coaching. We do assets, but we also talk about how to position intelligently across the markets, money, health, life, all of that. All right. We see a new member. We're going to go into it. And you know what? This can be a real frustrating part because, and that's why you have to pick it's almost like a guess, like you almost trying to pick the next Amazon, the next Google, the internet days, like you're trying to figure out which one is going to make it. And so the best way to do that is to be educated. Like which one is really, where is there a real need for this in our future world, and which ones are going to be adopted? And honestly, there's going to be a lot. Most of these coins are going to fall to nothing. I think they really are. Only the utility-based coins will last. But you got to figure out which one will be your handful, and you got to get your theses together. Like I have a thesis. It doesn't mean that somebody else, I could pick 5 coins, somebody else could pick 5 coins. They could all do well. But I have a thesis and I have conviction wrapped around the ones that I've chosen. And I want to go deep with understanding them so I can keep my conviction and ride through any volatility that's there. That's why I can ride through XRP, because I continue to get educated on it. I'm looking at the inflows. I'm looking at the outflows of other ETFs. Where's that money going again? You got money rolling out of the other ETFs into XRP ETFs. So why is that happening? Makes you say, And then you see all of the supply being taken away. And those are things you gotta like search for. I look at this stuff, y'all. I look at this stuff, and they want us to capitulate our positions. No. While y'all still loading up at $2, they are loading up, you guys. They're loading up. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. They're loading up. I am watching them every minute, taking and invest a lot of money in XRP. They are loading up right under your nose. Like, and you're not paying attention because you're not even watching it. Like there's certain sites you can go to watch the activity and the movement and the volume. Like, you're not probably watching it. I am. Okay. So, all right, y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Okay. It really do help the video. It helps the algorithm. Learning very well. I love that. More likes, y'all. No utility equals a pointless coin. And just understand that. So, but I want you to understand too, because people are so frustrated right now, but I can guarantee you, if you look up years later, and that's why the last live I did, I looked out even 10 years from now, and I'm like, listen, when we're out in the future and you're going to look back and say, dang, this was only $2. I keep saying that people are going to weep. They're going to be like, I missed it. Why did I do this? Oh my God. And then all the institutions that's been loading up right under your nose that ain't said nothing, they're going to have, it's happening right in front of your face. Right in front of your face. The wealth transfer is happening. It doesn't happen in like this big, fireworks kind of way, this real dramatic way. It's not dramatic. It's little by little by little by little until you wake up one day and you on the other side, you on the wrong side of the street. You're on the wrong side. You're on the side where it's raining. And the other side it's got sun. Sun is shining and the birds is chirping. Now, if you don't believe in XRP, please invest in what you're convicted about and what you're educated about. Because there's some people that's like, it'll never go to 100 and all of that. And again, I'm not buying XRP because of the price. I'm buying it because of its utility case. I'm buying it because I know the institutions will need it. I'm buying it because a rainy day always happens. Stress always happens to the market. Something will happen, something catastrophic. It will be needed. It will be manufactured. It will be manipulated even. Yes, but it will work. It will work. The powers that be have already planned this. And you're going to find out later on that it was all planned. Most of this was planned. Price probably already set. Y'all think y'all know what they doing behind closed doors? These people be operating decades in advance. Trust me. You just, you just following what the news and the headlines and all the other sentiment look in the retail. You know what I'm saying? They emotional anyway. All they trying to do is gamble anyway, because all they talking about is a trade. And they don't even realize XRP is not for trade. That's like, having commodity, like gold. You got to remember, XRP is now prime one collateral in the derivatives market. What is you talking about? Sitting alongside of gold. Everything's about to be tokenized. Come on, y'all. Anyway, this is a long-term play for me. All right. And I know that in the future, it will cause multiple streams of income. And I'm about to talk about that with my members right now. I'm about to talk about the Flare network and what they're doing and the ability to, do what honestly a lot of the banks are going to do. And this is just another option, but there'll be multiple ways to make income off of these assets. And I do like other assets other than XRP. Like I love XLM. Okay. So I'm looking at a lot of these different fast settlement, but I think XLM is for retail. XRP is not for retail. You're going to find that out. You're going to find it out one day. It wasn't for us. All right. Let me go ahead and $2 to $3 XRP. Okay, $2 to $3 XRP is on a 15-month timer. They're gonna let it go in March. Are you saying like that's the cap of it? I think. Anyway, if you haven't joined, the join button is next to the video, and you can. I'm long. I'm long HBAR. HBAR was number what? Number 4 or 5. HBAR might have been like the 4th or 5th. I can't remember between HBAR and Quant. All right. XRP. No, Bitcoin was my first asset that I ever bought. I think ETH was next. XRP, maybe HBAR was 4th. I think Cardano, ADA was 5th. And I think Quant was 6th. I think that's the order. I got to look again. Over 5 years ago, I invested and I continue to position myself. I love HBAR, y'all. I do. All right. So even though I talk about XRP, I love HBAR, and there's a lot of other ones that I like. All right. So XLM, what do you think of? I don't know that one. Okay. I thought you were saying wrapped flare. I don't know if you're trying to say wrapped flare or if that's is that WLFI? What's WLFI? Let me know. The amazing. Our Brad G always said XRP was meant for institutions. It is, but people still don't know that. They still don't get it. Retail doesn't set the price of XRP, y'all. Retail will never set the price of XRP. We will not determine the price of XRP. We can't buy enough of it. We can't do nothing. We can't move it. We can't do nothing. It's not for us. It's for the institutions. XLM is for us. XLM start buying now. I think that's, I would. Nothing I say is financial advice. Everything I say is for educational and entertainment purposes only. HBAR was the 3rd ETF after. Oh, yeah. You're right. It was. Algo. I like Algo. I have Algo. I got a lot of positions, you guys, and I ain't selling into the bull market. Yep, I like it. So I just said that. Ada Cardano. Don't know how pretty she is. Ada? Are you talking about the actual coin? I'm just going through some more of the comments. All right. So Algo, I think I just said that. I like Algo. I have Algo. Okay, I'm all in with. I don't know a whole lot about it. Let me write it down though, because when I come up across some that I haven't looked into, I just like to know what's going on with it. Because I thought at first I thought you was putting wrapped flare in there. All right, guys. I'm just going through just a few more. All right, so I am okay. Let's put this up so everybody can know. Allows you to buy assets, crypto, and borrow. Oh, got it. Okay, well, I'll look into that. Thanks, Corey. I appreciate that. Because I got my focus on in like kind of like one direction. I like Ondo, but I am just so I'm underwhelmed with Ondo right now. But I hold Ondo. I hold a nice amount of Ondo. But they just kind of, I don't know. Some of them got me a little frustrated in 2025. I made some short-term swings on Ondo that was really, really good. But yeah. I'm just looking at. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Love your videos. Quick question. What do you think about the bill? And I know that will probably hit a Um, regular banks that would hit the exchange, just like when you say the bill hit a regular banks. I don't understand that question. And which bill are you talking about? Um, let me know, William. I'll stay on until you finish that. I'm just going through some more of the questions. Great, great, great right there. I love that. Love Velo, love SHX for sure. ADA, X, Flare, XDCH, bar for the win. Those are good. Those are some good picks right there. XDC, I like XDC. Somebody think Ando is going to be huge, and you know, I like Ando. I hold a lot of it. I never sold it. I just was a little underwhelmed about last SHX. I did a whole video on that on my members group. Ando, famous Japanese sumo wrestler. All right, I was looking for William question too to just like have more clarity. William, if you are going into the membership, we can deal with that question there as well. So yeah, because we're gonna transition right here. I don't want to wait too long. I was just going through a little bit of the chats. Okay, and just seeing, because I'm not even at the bottom of them. I'm trying to go through them. Link. When you say the link, oh, link, chain link. Yeah, I'm chain link. I like chain link too. But chain link has never had its day. I mean, it's just like, man. But I hold chain link, and I bought chain link at great prices. Man, when it dropped to like $8, what is it at now? I'm just curious. I've loaded up once it's at $13. I bought it when it dropped, when it hit that crash. I bought Chainlink. I loaded up at $8. So I bought Chainlink at some amazing prices. Yeah, so I'll look into WLFI and Algo. I love Algo. I have a lot of Algo. I have a whole lot of Algo. Yeah. So I'm going over. Let me get into the membership because we can answer some of the questions there. XPR Proton. I'm actually going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about ZBEC also. And then let's see. Quant. I like Quant too. So. Oh, you said bail-ins. Okay, I thought you put in bills. When the banks take money from your account, they call it bill. Yes, yes. And then now I got to go back to the question and remember what you answered. Thank you so much, William. I appreciate you. You don't have to give anything for that. But now I'm trying to go back to the original question so that I can but yes, you know what? A lot of that is going to hit the. So this is why I moved my XRP off the exchanges, William, because remember, like I said in the last video that I did live, right? So XRP, if it's on the exchange, like for me, I do have some crypto on exchanges. Let me just be transparent, and then I'm gonna go with my members, right? I have crypto on the exchanges because, you know, like short-term movement and things like that, right? But if you have your assets on the exchange, and welcome for you guys who are joining members. We're about to go on live now. But if you have your stuff on the exchange, just remember you do not own them. So if you run into an event where there is a supply and demand issue and they go to the exchanges to try to get that, the exchanges own your crypto. So if you have XRP there, they own your XRP, and it's like they promise, like, I'll give it to you when you want it, basically. But what happens if they get in a situation, or you know what I mean? They own both the keys to your crypto when it's on the exchange. So I don't, whether it's a bail-in, like whether they come with the supply and demand and there's a shock and there's issues, and then you got all this slippage happening. So then what? If you try to sell with all this catastrophe going on, where there's a lot of supply and demand clashing, like I don't even know what the slippage would be at that point. I wouldn't want to sell it on the exchanges if we're in that type of scenario. Now with the other assets, I'm not as worried about it because I don't see the supply being eaten up everywhere like I do XRP. With XRP, it's very clear. And when you have an ETF that is a number one ETF, remember, XRP was the number one ETF of 2025. Like it outdid all the other ETF. Matter of fact, it outdid every ETF that got released to the stock market, right? So when you have the ETF coming and you got all of this supply being taken off, because again, this is a spot ETF, like in the sense of like they have to hold the actual coin, right? So when you have people, when you have those inflows going into the ETFs, it is taking away the supply. So then you got that on top of all of the institutions loading up and taking it off the dark pool and off the OTC. They're going to go to the exchanges. If there's a problem where there needs to be a large demand, a large where there is a large demand and there's not enough supply left, ain't no telling what I'm using slang, ain't no telling what's going to happen on that exchange. And I don't want to be a part of it. So mine is temporarily off the exchanges. I don't have any XRP on exchanges other than what I bought after I moved all my XRP off the exchanges, which I need to move that too, but it ain't that much. You know what I'm saying? So, but all of my XRP is gone off the exchanges. I have a lot of other stuff there. I can put it back on after this situation, after I feel more comfortable, but I'm not comfortable yet while we still have a Japan reverse carry trade unwinding. It is still unwinding, you guys. And there's anything with all the geopolitical stuff, man, it's all kind of stuff going on. Venezuela and Iran being unstable, and UK, France, and Germany, you know, sending ships over the green. I mean, it's too much stuff going on, y'all. So there's anything that could, you know, cause these issues to happen. Okay. So I don't want to be a part of it in the meantime. That helps me to sleep at night. All right. I'm just sharing y'all with what I'm doing. Nothing I say is financial advice. Thank you so much, Deshaun. I appreciate that. And all right, I'm gonna go on with my members. Give me about 5 minutes. And I'll go over there, answer some more questions. I'm gonna go over the flare thing. I want you guys to understand the yield and the possibilities of what that looks like. I'll go over ZBEC, I'll go over XPR, not XRP, XPR, Proton, and we'll spend a little bit of time together. So give me about 5 minutes. I'll see you guys over there. If you haven't joined, go ahead and join. Links are in the description for everything else. And as always, thanks for subscribing. If you haven't, please hit that like button on the way out and on the way in, if wherever you're listening to, and if you're hearing this at this moment, if it's the replay or whatever, hit that like button for me. Do me that one favor. I'm here, and I love being with you guys. I appreciate you all for being here with me as well. Like I don't take that for granted at all. But I do ask one thing: hit that like button. And if you haven't joined, $3.99 a month, you can cancel anytime. And my appreciation for that is to go over and spend some time with you guys, and that's easy for me because I love being with you guys anyway. And as always, stay wise, stay wealthy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.